the for the agenda. We do have enough to conduct a meeting. After Bobby reads the electronic statement that's required for us to put in, then I'll do a roll call. Bobby?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If there is no objection from the members and subject to Executive Order number 71, which was reiterated by Executive Order 73, the Highway Commission has determined that it is necessary that this meeting be held electronically to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Are there any objections to this finding by the board? Let the minutes reflect that the board has made this determination to conduct this meeting electronically. I do want to remind everyone that all votes must be taken by roll call, and prior to making a motion or second or asking a question or making a comment, please state your name. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Are there any objections to having this meeting electronically? If not, I'll call roll. Mr. Tyson? Mr. Tyson? Mr. Davis?
Davis here.
Thank you. Mr. Coleman?
Coleman here.
Thank you. And Mr. Wilson?
Wilson here.
Thank you. Anderson's here. We have enough to conduct, we have a quorum enough to conduct business. First item that we have on the agenda today are the approval of the December the 2nd, 2020 meetings. Do I have a motion to approve?
Coleman, so moved.
Davis second.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. And the second, are there any corrections to the minutes? Ready to vote on the minutes. Mr. Tyson? Mr. Davis?
Davis, yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Coleman, yes.
Thank you. And Mr. Wilson?
Wilson, yes.
Anderson votes yes also. Let the minutes reflect it passed 4-0. Any special announcements? Mr. Hood, any special announcements?
Yes, I have one, and a lot of y'all might know this, and some of you probably don't. Mr. Dick Folks passed away last week, and his funeral was out here at Memorial this past Saturday, and in Terminal at Woodlawn Memorial Park on our following Sunday. But Dick was, of course, he served on the highway board for so many years, done a great job, and we're going to miss Mr. Folks. And, of course, y'all know him, he always smoked cigars. Well, out here, of course, we visited Saturday, and in his front pocket, he had 3 cigars in his left front shirt pocket, so took them home with us. Good fellow. That's all I have, Rogers.
Thank you, Eddie. Would everyone check their microphone button to be sure that you're on the mute when you're not talking? We're getting a little bit of feedback. Thank you, Eddie, for the update, and our thoughts and prayers go out to his family. The next item we have is citizens communication. Anyone wishing to address the board at this time? Ms. Calloway, are you wanting to address the board?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anyone else on here that I do not physically see that would like to address the board, feel free to do that. We would ask you to keep your remarks 3 to 5 minutes. Ms. Calloway, would you please identify yourself and your address so we can get that into the records and let you have the floor? Thank you.
So, thank you. I am Melissa Calloway, and Calloway spelled with all A's, no O's, and I live at 1202 Hidden Valley Road in Brentwood. First, I want to begin by wishing you all a Happy New Year. I hope it's a wonderful year for your families and our community. I'm here again today to provide citizen comment on behalf of the residents of Hidden Valley. Our neighborhood remains interested in working with the county to address the well-documented speed and safety issues. As I walk on the neighborhood's roads twice a day with my dogs, I am consistently asked about the status of our initiative. With the start of the new year, we hope that the county will engage with our work group, and provide specific commitments and a timetable for implementation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Anyone else wishing to address the Highway Board this morning? I hear none, and I do not see anyone. We'll move on to elections and appointments. I do not have any listed at this time. We have no additional old business that needs to be brought up. We're into our new business on our agenda. First one is Resolution 21-115, resolution to adopt the 2021 Williamson County Road List. I'll entertain a motion to get it up on the floor.
Wilson so moves.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
Coleman, second.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. We have a motion and seconded. I have been notified by legal counsel that we do need to make a correction in the first paragraph. We'll have to do that by amendment. Bobby, you want to tell us what needs to be deleted so we can get this correctly?
Absolutely. In the first whereas, as the mayor said, the terms "at its January meeting" needs to be deleted. The state law was amended to remove that requirement.
Thank you. So would one of you gentlemen please give us an amendment to remove the last 2 or 3 words "at its January session"? That is no longer a requirement. And this was already filed, so we can't just do a clerical adjustment. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Dave.
Coleman, so moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Wilson second.
Davis, second.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson, I heard you first. So let's vote on the amendment first. Any other questions or comments on the amendment? What you're voting on is removing "at its January session." I'll do a roll call. Mr. Tyson? Mr. Davis?
Davis, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Coleman?
Coleman, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
Wilson, yes.
Thank you. And Anderson, yes. Now we're back to the main motion as the amendment passed 4-0. Any questions on the road list? Eddie?
I recommend approval. Greg has done a great job with this, Elaine. And it's, like you said, it was just an amendment. The only thing was wrong with it, so recommend approval.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from any of the members? Then, as amended by removing "at its January session," we will vote. Mr. Tyson? Mr. Davis?
Davis, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Coleman?
Coleman, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
Wilson, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Anderson votes yes also. Let it show that it passed 4-0. Excuse me. Resolution 21-116. Resolution amending the 5-year capital improvement program for schools, roads, fire protection, and recreation. I have a motion.
Coleman, so moved.
Davis, second.
Thank you. There we go. Thank you, gentlemen. Eddie?
Recommend approval. This is something that is kind of routine we do each year so we can adequate the facility and adequate the school facility tax on the state level. And this is really just a wish list. This is not set in stone. Nothing's been approved. It could all change, but this is something that just a tool we work by.
Thank you, Eddie. Nina, a little bit more, a broader view from the accounting side, budget side.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Okay. Yes, this, like Eddie said, this is our 5-year capital improvement plan. This is a resolution that we do annually that allows us to collect our privilege taxes. We're not approving each of the individual projects at this time. We'll still go through our budget process to do that. This is approving the plan so that we can collect those taxes.
Thank you, Nina. Are there questions from any of the Highway Commission members? We ready to vote? Mr. Tyson? No answer. Mr. Davis?
Davis, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Coleman?
Coleman, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Mr. Wilson?
Wilson, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Anderson votes aye also. Let the minutes reflect it passed 4-0. The final resolution today is Resolution 21-117, resolution accepting roads in Falls Grove subdivision, Section 1, located off of Udaly Covington Road, as a part of the county road system for maintenance by the County Highway Department. I'll entertain a motion to get that up on the floor.
Coleman, move to approve.
Thank you, David. Do I have a second, gentlemen?
Davis, Wilson, second.
Mr. Davis is second. Thank you. Mr. Hood?
Yes, sir. This is a resolution that followed last month's report that this body voted on. William Andrews and myself have looked at these roads, and I recommend approval.
Thank you. Mr. Andrews?
Andrews, recommend approval.
Thank you. Questions, gentlemen? Routine, what we do, you get them in the road system. Ready to vote? Don't hear any questions. Mr. Tyson? No answer. Mr. Davis?
Davis, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Coleman?
Coleman, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
Wilson, yes.
Thank you, Charles. Anderson votes aye. Let the records reflect it passed 4-0. Under our Highway Commission district reports is where we're at now on the agenda. I'll ask one more time, Mr. Tyson. I hear no answer. Mr. Davis?
Davis, everything great out my way. You guys are doing a great job. I hadn't had any calls or complaints.
That's great. No snow either.
Right.
How about Mr. Coleman down there in Thompson Station? Anything going on down there?
Oh, a lot going on, but I've had 2 calls, one about the progress on Arnold Road there in front of Page High School, and then an intersection that the rescue squad was concerned about. And I've talked to Mr. Hood, and they're already taking a look at both of those with Collier, so I appreciate the help.
Thank you, David. Mr. Wilson, how about out in your neck of the woods?
Well, we've had a couple of issues. One is out off of Wilson Pike with Mr. Johnson's property over there, and Eddie's working hard to take care of that. Bobby's going to get him a letter. They've had a water problem with a person across the road forever, and they're trying to keep from that person getting flooded every time it comes a big rain. So I compliment Eddie on everything he's tried to do and is doing on that. And the next thing is our ongoing issues with Hidden Valley, and Mr. Coleman, Mr. Collier's working very hard on trying to get that resolved. He's getting some roundabouts designed right now, and as soon as that's done, we'll be able to get with the community and get with Melissa and let her know, try to get some kind of timetable for it. But it's a little hard right now. We're still waiting on the design process, and we're going to implement that as soon as weather permits and see what that does to mitigate the traffic problem. If that doesn't, then we'll try to throw something else at it. Meanwhile, we're going to try to get a committee together to study what criteria might cause the county to participate in some type of electronic signs. And it's just a study committee, and we haven't completely formed it yet, and we're going to try to get that together here in probably the next month or so and see if we can get something done with that. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. On my part, again, I want to wish everyone a happy new year. Appreciate the hard work under these conditions we're having to do things on, and to Eddie and all of his people that are working on a daily basis, thank you for the job well done in 2020. As far as the upcoming meetings, the governor has extended the executive order through February the 27th. I think that's right. February, I may have froze up there. Did you hear me, Bobby? Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we heard you. And it is,
Okay.
Yeah, we hear you.
So through February 27th, we have been authorized to have additional electronic meetings. So for the month of February, we'll plan on doing that and ask Elaine and Eddie to prepare the paperwork, and so that we can do our February meeting electronically. I do not have an answer for you for March at this present time. We'll just have to see how this goes on, and it may be a last minute decision for March, because our March meeting is March 3rd, and the order goes off on the 27th, which is Saturday. So we'll have to just wait and see how that works out. For you that are interested in the COVID and the vaccines and the testing, that continues to be a real challenge. If any of you have got any free time, we've realigned 5 people today, this morning, to help in various areas that we need help in. One of them's down at the public safety building, handling a lot of phone calls from people calling in wanting to be able to get the vaccine, or we haven't broken down into incoming calls and outgoing calls, and we've shifted people there to handle both sides of that. I don't know exactly what the number is, because we set it up when this meeting started, but we were planning on some 20 people being there today to kind of beef up that area, and we've got the potential to raise it up to 28. We're getting a lot of phone calls from people throughout the area wanting to get the vaccine, and the way to get the vaccine is to go to the WilliamsonReady.org website, and you can sign in. The county is taking a different approach than some of the other surrounding counties. We're working off from appointments only, so that our residents and citizens are not either sitting outside or sitting in a car outside waiting to get in line to get a vaccine. So when you register, you give them your age, you give them your email address, and then someone from that office will call you and verify that on a certain date you're scheduled to have your vaccine. And unless you call us back, that's the arrangement. So if you show up, you know you're getting a shot. So under the first 2 vaccines, it requires 2 shots. And so early on, we were holding back some vaccines, but later on, we're assured by the task force out of Nashville that there'll be plenty of shots. So we've opened up our avenues of giving shots. Tennessee is about one of the leading states in the nation in being able to get those shots out. Even with all the things we're doing, there is still a lot of confusion, particularly those individuals 75 and older that don't have access to computers, that still like to use the telephone to make an appointment. And so we're trying to deal with all of those issues as they come up on a day-by-day basis. We still are doing testing out at the Ag Center. For an example, yesterday we did testing in the morning from approximately 8:30 until 10:30. It's usually about 11 before we get all that done, and we shut it down. The guys reposition the sawhorses and the signage, and then we started doing vaccines from about 12:30, 1 o'clock to nearly 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. If you're one of the people that's emailing in or wanting to get your shot, please go to that williamsonready.org website and plan accordingly. Give them your name and email. I will tell you that once we have booked all of the times based on the number of vials that we've got, we do not allow people to register because we do not know until the day before how many vials we're getting out of Nashville or from wherever they come from. So it's the best we can do. It is confusing, and that's why we have the need for trying to get that communication out the best that we can out in our area. Finally, I might report that if you want to try a surrounding county, then you can do that. This is being paid by the federal government, so there are no borders. If you're in Murray County or Bedford County and you want to come up to Williamson County, you can do that to get your shots. Likewise, our residents can go on some other websites or go to these other surrounding counties and wait in line. That is another option for people, but we are putting shots in arms as quick as we possibly can, given the personnel at the county commission budget committee, at the budget committee the other night. We authorized the purchase, authorized the funding for another nurse to help Kathy Montgomery out. There's, as you can imagine, there's a huge need for nurses and nurse techs and et cetera, et cetera. Finally, I want to say thanks to Todd Horton, Bill Jorgensen, Hannah Bleem, and Kenny Wallace, and all the people that are moving the sawhorses and getting things set up, the National Guard, our public health department. It's a mammoth undertaking every single day out at the Ag Park, getting all of this done. And I'm being told, I'm certainly not a doctor, but I'm being told the only way we're really going to get ahead of this virus is to get herd immunity and by getting people vaccinated. So do your due diligence. If you feel comfortable getting the shot, I encourage you to go to one of the websites and sign in and get your shot. Check with your doctors. If you've got a compromised immune system, I would encourage you to do that with your doctors. And I guess the final thing is yesterday on the conversation that we had, our hospital continues to see an unbelievable number of COVID patients coming in. We were over 52 yesterday. That's the largest single number we've ever had. And we in the beginning of this, of course, we were down in the single digits, and then we popped up in the teens. And then in late September and October, we kind of settled around that 20. But we are increasingly getting high numbers over to hospitals. So please do what you can to stay safe, social distancing, wear those masks, wash those hands. Diane just clicked on and she's got some late information on the vaccine. Diane?
So late last night, the PIO did send out an update that they are not able to utilize I guess it was the Sign Up Genius, because people were getting so frustrated that it would only allow folks to go through January the 20th. And that was because that was all of the vaccine that they had available for distribution. So the update this morning is to have folks who are interested, that are in the current scenario of folks who are able to receive the vaccine, which includes those 75 and up years of age, is to email either a question or a request to get on the reservation list vaccine, VACCINE, at Williamson County, all spelled out, -tn.gov. Or you may call the public information line, which has a multitude of folks staffing it today, 615-595-4880, rather than trying to go back and forth with emails or trying to go to the website with the calendar and not be able to get beyond January 20th. So again, the information line is 615-595-4880, and that's Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Diane. Appreciate the update. It's changing on a daily basis on the procedures. The bottom line, we're trying to make every effort to get those get people vaccinated that want to be. And I can assure you that there are plenty of phone calls of people calling in wanting that shot. Are there any questions I can answer? Well, if I don't see any and no hands are being raised, and I guess I should ask, I'm sorry, Bobby, I overlooked you, any legal issues that we need to address?
No, Mr. Mayor, not in addition to what Mr. Wilson's already explained.
Thank you. Anything else for the good of the cause this morning? Eddie?
May I answer?
Yes, Eddie. I'm sorry.
I have a comment too on Arnold Road in front of the Page High and Page Middle. The paving is completed in that area, and it had been have a temporary stripe put on it. There's still like some guardrail work, some touching up on the ditches, and a couple of poles, AT&T poles out that still is in the part of the turning lane, but they have those barricaded off. So hopefully the next few weeks they will get gone. But this project is slowly coming to a head. It's probably, I'll say, 98% complete, but the paving is completed in this area right now.
Thank you, Eddie. I'm sorry I overlooked you.
And I just want to thank you too for what you've done throughout all this pandemic issue. I know you had your hands full, but I just want to thank you for what you. I know it's a job, but just thank you for your part in this.
Well, thank you. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of people doing the right thing. It's kind of easy to be flying at 30,000 feet, and I appreciate that. And you all yours. Anything else for the good of the cause?
Mr. Chairman,
Wilson would like to comment too that you've done a great job, Mr. Mayor, and we really, all this county owes you a great deal of gratitude for as hard as you work for this COVID situation.
Well, thank you. I heard somebody else. David, was that you?
yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. After we adjourn, can I make one comment?
You bet. Anything else for the good of the cause?
Davis, I want to thank you for everything you do also, and I like to tell Eddie to keep us informed about Mr. Tyson.
Will do.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Wilson, so moved.
All right.
Coleman second.
We are officially adjourned. David, go ahead.